Hello everybody and welcome back to the Fortress of Solitude. Today we're going to be talking about Absolute Catwoman issue 1, written by Chi Grayson and Scott Snyder, art by Bengal, colors by Giovanna Nero, and letters by Lucas Gattoni. Selina Kyle's adventures continue as across the globe in rainy London, Catwoman breaks into a fancy apartment, quickly finding the safe that she wants to get into. She knows that this is the thrill of it all, them putting the skin-tight suit on, having the knowledge that you're at your best at what you do, and you're the only one who can get the thing, be it diamonds, quantum processors, or anything in between. She knows that that's not her though, as the Catwoman is shot down by the real Catwoman Selina Kyle. The drugs from her tranq darts knocking the false Catwoman out instantly. She has her AI Jonesy do a scan on the woman, finding that she is stable before quickly alerting her to other intruders. Selina barely has a moment to react and get to cover as a group of other Catwomen enter the room and open fire on her with automatic weapons. So I wasn't sure what type of premise this book was going to be, whether it was going to be a crime, heist book, globe-trotting adventure thriller that would expand the Absolute Universe, or kind of an action romp through an exotic city. And it looks like it's going to be equal parts of all of that, which is great. I love the idea of Selina having to deal with what appears to be copycats, people trying to be her and trying to, I guess, get in on her gigs, and she's got to take them out or something. It's an interesting story. It's something we see all the time when we see crime or, stories with thieves or something. There's always, those thieves trying to outdo the other thief or something like that. Selina notes that the women are all dressed like her old crew, the Calicos, knowing that someone is doing this to make a point to her. She's going to find out what. Leaping from cover, Selina takes down the criminals with little trouble. She knows that these women are treating the outfit they wear like a costume, just theatre, but for her it's all tactical and functional. She also doesn't mind making a mess of the apartment, being that it's her apartment and the only thing she actually cares about in it is a little postcard she has, knowing it's the only thing that matters in the room. I really love getting a look at some of Selina's tech here and how her costume and gadgets are really similar to that of Batman's. We got it a little bit when she appeared in Absolute Batman, and here we get it a little bit more, and we find out that she's kind of evolved a little bit, and her suit looks a little different. It looks like it's a bit more functional, and her tail is able to be used a little bit better. It's not just an ammo belt for her gun. I love all of this sort of stuff, this evolution of what she is and how she's basically become Batman more or less. She's got the high-tech suit, she's got the gadgets. I really like it. It's really cool. Selina thinks that she has won when the Catwoman escapes suddenly, learning that they left behind a bomb that explodes, throwing Selina from the building. As Selina is catapulted from the building, she knows she is thinking of breaking every bone in the body of whomever is behind this, not just for blowing her up, but also because they ruined her birthday. Earlier that day, Selina is woken by a call from Dante Calderon, one of her assistants, who asks what it's like being 25 now. Selina thinks that it's a little undercaffeinated, getting herself some coffee as Dante asks when she's coming by the villa that she is looking to buy. Selina thinks that she can be there in a few hours, heading down into the Cat Cave, her very own high-tech bunker containing all her Catwoman gear. It is really so funny that literally everyone else besides Batman has an actual Batcave or high-tech hideout. He just is squatting in the sewers with a crazy clown lady, an old man, and a giant crocodile. The Catcave has some really cool gadgets in it. She's got a jet, there's a bunch of cat suits, in the containers, much like how you see the bat suits in those stasis tube things. She's got exoskeletons, a really cool looking motorcycle, just really some really cool stuff that I hope we get to see a lot more of across this miniseries. Selina takes in her cave, comparing it to a museum now thanks to the exoskeletons, the camo suits, and the WILDCAT. Her specially engineered jet bike never getting any use since she is deciding to retire at 25, and all of this stuff has served its purpose. Selina closes up the cave for one final time as 12 years ago, a young Selina has to make a quick exit from her foster father Joe's home as he storms into her room, knowing Selina was skimming from his debit card. Selina thinks that he just misplaced all of his money as he grabs her wrist, spotting the bracelet he bought for his wife. Selina, though, thinks of it more as a birthday present for his favorite foster daughter. Joe pushes her up against the fire escape, thinking about seriously dropping her from the building, but Selina knows he won't, since if she winds up dead, those foster care checks he gets will stop coming every month, and then how is he going to pay off his gambling debts? Selena uses this as a chance to push Joe off of her and leap up onto the roof, escaping him. She remembers not even wanting the bracelet, just wanting it so she can eventually pawn it and put away the money to help her escape the home and get away from men like Joe who put their hands on her without her asking. She remembers the postcard again, the only thing that she has from her homeland of Cuba, which she escaped from as a baby, not remembering who took her away. The postcard has an image of a mountain range and a woman in a white dress overlooking a cliff, something she has never forgotten and something she wants for herself. G. Grayson and Scott Snyder are diving deep into Selena's background in this universe, and I'm all for it because it's completely different than what we usually see with Selena. There's some echoes of what we usually get from a Selena Kyle origin story, but I love everything we're getting here, kind of filling in all of the blanks about how she's from Cuba and how she doesn't know how she really got over into the US. She was taken by someone that she even says here she couldn't see their face because she remembers it was blotted out by the sun, so she can't really remember it. And I can see where they're going with the whole postcard bit, since it reminds me of the trope you see in movies like, say, Collateral, where a character has their sights on something and some outpoint from their job, like a monetary amount they have to hit. Or like in Collateral, Jamie Foxx's character wants to start his own limo business, so he's got like pictures of limos and stuff he wants to buy, as well as an island he plans on eventually retiring to, and that's like his like goal. And I like that that's what Selena has here with this postcard, where it reminds her of home, but it's also her goal. She wants to be that woman on the cliff face, just overlooking everything. It's a very solid basis for a character's actions and motivations. Later on, Selena arrives in Sicily, meeting with Dante, who is handing off the sprawling estate on the water to Selena. He wishes she would reconsider having a support staff to upkeep the property, but Selena won't be needing that, reminding him that once he leaves this place, he will have to forget all about it. Selena heads up to the balcony, one of several the home has, and looks over her very own piazza, complete with her very own tiger stalking through the forest at its center. Selena congratulates Dante on a job well done, but the man wishes he could stay on at least until his people tag the big cat for her, since it's already mauled 2 of his people when they tried. Selena dismisses him, knowing that all the cat wants to be is left alone. Later on, back in London, Selena thinks about how usually a 25-year-old would go crash a nightclub and make some bad choices, but that's not who she is. After downing her drink, she hears a noise nearby, grabbing a kitchen knife and hurling it at the arriving Holly Robinson, luckily missing her and instead hitting the birthday cake she is carrying. I didn't expect Holly to appear so soon in the book. I expected her to appear because she's usually part of Selena's origin. Selena's usually her friend, or, in some cases she becomes the second Catwoman. There's always that relationship there between the two, so I did expect it, just not right here in the first issue. Holly knows that it's been a minute since they've seen each other, but Selena knows it's actually been 7 years, asking how she got through her security. Holly reminds Selena that she taught her everything in and out of the book, offering her friend her birthday cake, hoping she still likes red velvet. Selena is a little bit more concerned about Holly having found her, since it was a hard thing to do these days. Holly senses some hostility from Selena, hoping they can just bury the hatchet, act like adults, and put the past behind them and celebrate her birthday. But Selena knows that Holly is hiding something, brushing the hair from her face to reveal that she has a black eye, figuring Holly is deep in something she shouldn't be. I love the sense of character we get from both these women here, where Selena is the one who's kind of forced to grow up because of the life she led and look out for herself, whereas Holly doesn't really seem to have grown up all that much, or at least, she has that life experience because, she would have grown up with Selena, so she would have seen some of the stuff that Selena saw, but she doesn't really take it seriously, it seems. Like, from what I get from this interaction, she's like the more lighthearted, jokey of the two, and Selena doesn't particularly like that, or doesn't like the fact that she has not grown up. There's conflict that comes from that, but you can tell that Selena still cares and wants to help Holly deep down, even though she won't really show it. This is the one final job bit of the crime thriller book that this is, she's going to have to suit up one final time and use her gadgets and, help Holly get out of the sticky situation she's found herself in. And I think that's what the stuff we saw at the beginning of the issue, with her dealing with the stuff that Holly has gotten into. 10 years prior, Selena meets Holly for the first time as the girl evades the police, hiding in a crawl space that Selena points her to. The cops come by asking if Selena has seen the girl, but all Selena has seen is her cat, putting an innocent child act on. The cops take off as Selena remembers Holly was on the run after being caught trying to smuggle a 3D printed screwdriver to her mother in prison inside of a cake. Selena knows that Holly is very, very smart as the girl gets out of the crawl space, instantly becoming Selena's best friend, bonding over how much they are both loners and thieves. Back in London, the older Holly says that she's got a job and needs Selena's help, since they were once a team, but then Selena just left her like she didn't even care. Selena screams at Holly that she cared too much and she paid the price and she has sacrificed enough for them. Holly can see she isn't going to get through to Selena, dumping the cake on the table and telling her not to lose sleep over her again. Holly leaves the apartment and later, Selena decides she's going to cut into the cake, remembering the postcard from earlier and the message on it, one that read "Our Heart," signed by 10 names she could barely read, but she somehow knows they were all her family. The slow reveal of this whole postcard, the thing that Selena has kind of like grounded herself around, is really interesting. We learn Selena was taken from Cuba by someone she doesn't really remember. And it's kind of got me thinking, my cogs are starting to move, where it's like, what if this is all related to like the Jack Grimm's, Scarecrow stuff that we're getting revealed over in Absolute Batman at the moment, where we learned that Batman and Bruce Wayne's entire life was basically predetermined for him by Jack Grimm. And it was all just like a sick joke that he became Batman. And what if them taking Selena and setting Selena up to be like, his on again, off again girlfriend and like a person he knows is something that happened as well. Like Selena was taken from her land by Jack Grimm or someone related to him to set up all of that. Like that could be something that, ties that all back together. It's all coming back to Jack Grimm. Kind of makes sense since that's where Absolute Batman is heading in terms of like everything has been predetermined by Jack because he has such a stranglehold over this world. There's a little mystery there, and I do like that they are definitely hinting at something going on with Selena being taken from Cuba and not remembering who took her and like her family and everything. I'm sure we're going to get into it as the series goes along. As Selena cuts into the cake, the knife hits something solid, and after digging through it, she finds a small metal orb. The Calicos soon make their appearance again, obviously having followed Holly, so Selena sneaks down to the cat cave before they can see her, suiting up one final time again as she remembers the postcard and how when she realized the people whose names on it weren't coming for her, she decided she's just going to scratch them off and not care for them anymore. Back in the present, Selena is blown back out through the window of her apartment, and she tells Jonesy to deploy her carbon fire net when they pass 300 feet. But the AI states they already passed that, deploying the net just as Selena is about to hit the ground. The jolt from the parachute causes her to dislocate her shoulder and break her ankle. She has to put that all behind her as she spots the copycat Calicos racing off on their motorbikes. Selena guesses that she's going to get the chance to use the WILDCAT after all, retrieving the experimental bike from her cave, racing out into the city after the copycats. As Selena tracks the copycats, she finds they have kidnapped Holly, tying her to the back of one of the bikes. And on top of that, whomever took Holly also has stolen the little orb Selena pulled from the birthday cake, making her now wonder whatever it is, it's worth killing over. Selena activates Apex mode on the WILDCAT, and one of the most awesome things to ever happen in the Absolute lineup happens here as the bike transforms into a giant robotic tiger, leaping over the pileup of cars the bike has caused to slow her down. So Selena is definitely getting all of the best gadgets across this Absolute lineup. This is totally Batman type gadgets, and I love it that she finally gets her own cool gadgets like this. It's just so much fun seeing stuff like this, and it's really creative too. It makes me think of Absolute Batman and the stuff Nick Dragotta did in that. And speaking of artist, Bengal has been fantastic on this book. Again, borrowing a lot of the design philosophy we saw in Absolute Batman from Nick Dragotta, like the costume and like just how like everything feels like bigger, if that makes sense. Everything has to be like kind of bombastic, like here with the WILDCAT, it transforming into like a giant tiger. Like that's so overkill and awesome. I also really like their design for like the cities and stuff. They're like landscapes and environments. It feels very cyberpunk-esque. Everything feels slightly modernized and just a little bit into the future than what we are. And it looks really cool. It just looks fantastic. Selena dodges the cars and she remembers something she learned all those years ago in the orphanages. If someone sees something that matters to you, they will want it for themselves. And two things can happen. You can either teach yourself not to care about it and leave it, or hit back twice as hard. Selina decides to hit back, catching up with the biker who has Holly, but as it turns out, whomever the masked biker is very good at their job, spinning the bike out of Selina's grasp before she can grab Holly, before coming at Selina with a katana. Selina comes for the katana-wielding biker again, but finds they are very good at fighting, something Selina isn't used to doing, at least not directly. Selina tries a move that she knows that the biker won't expect, attacking her with her tail, but the biker blocks the tail as if it's nothing, almost like she expected it. Selina decides to change things up, deploying various types of martial arts one after the other before being pushed off the bike by the biker as if she is nothing. The biker speeds off with Holly still on the back, but Selina did not leave empty-handed, revealing that she stole the orb from their backpack. She gets Jonesy to pull up coordinates on the Wandering Rose, since she's going to need more firepower, as elsewhere, the biker offloads Holly into a warehouse, cuffing her to a nearby post as she accepts a call, where the person on the call tells Cassandra Cain she did an excellent job and they are all very proud of her. Cassandra making an appearance is a big surprise and really opens the world up to even more things than I thought, since obviously Lady Shiva is going to get involved somewhere in this, the League of Assassins too probably, maybe Brotherhood of the Fist, who knows where this could go. It leads to so many different options. I do also know that just today, as of me recording this, they did announce that Cassandra Cain is getting an absolute book and one, I think it's like a special, which could probably spawn out into its own series, which is really cool. So we're going to get to see more of her and what her deal is and why she is targeting Catwoman and what they want with her and this mysterious little orb that Holly gave her. The setup is something that is very intriguing and it's definitely got me hooked. It's a great setup for a big crime thriller book. It's got me hook, line and sinker, and I cannot wait to see what Grayson and Snyder do next. Absolute Catwoman issue 1 got the miniseries off to an explosive start, dropping us into the life of Selina Kyle during a moment of change in the young thief's life. Snyder and Grayson expand the Absolute world in some really fantastic little ways here, showing us different parts of the larger world and some places outside of Gotham. And I love Catwoman now has her own high-tech Batman-like gadgets, has a bat cave or a cat cave in this case, just adding a little bit more flavor to the character. And this version of the character who's all about her own self, but will be dragged back into giant conspiracies at the drop of a hat when she sees one of her friends in danger. I'm really looking forward to the mystery they built up here, especially in the final pages with Cassandra Cain showing up and what that means for Selina going forward in this series. It's off to a great start and I can't wait to see issue 2. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.